Just because I love you, it don't mean I trust you. Everybody not to be trusted. Everybody around me thugging. Everybody around me drugging. Everybody around me hustling. Everybody know not to bring no new rigging around me. They say I be bugging. Got racks in the go-yard luggage. Just because I love you, it don't mean I trust you. Everybody not to be trusted.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the show. This is your host, Quentin Flores, and this is Uncut with Q, where we talk about all things business, entrepreneurship, overcoming hardships, and just fucking life up in general. In a good way, in the best possible way. With that being said, guys, if this is your first time listening, we have a fee. Fee is very simple. If you get value from the show, share the shit out of the show. We have multiple different types of shows. I feel like we clarify them on every single episode, but we have Mindset with Mitzi. We have Real Talk, where I come over here, say some badass shit. We have Trey and Q surf the web. We come in, we just go through the internet, look at things that are trending. He asks me about them. I answer his questions. We have Q&A with E and Q. You guys can go to quentinflores.com/askianq and submit your questions for the show, and we'll be happy to answer them here live on this podcast. With that being said, I have an amazing guest again. And she's been phenomenal. A lot of you guys are like, she needs her own channel. We're working on that. Really, I've been getting that a lot.
Really? That's awesome.
Like, she needs her own YouTube, her own Twitter, her own everything. I was like, dude, just follow her. I tag her in everything, you know? But yeah, one of the guys had said that recently, and I was pretty blown away by it. I think it's pretty awesome, to be honest.
Oh, that is.
Yeah. And that means we're doing something right on this show, right? So, Mitzi and I, we come in here and we talk about the craziest stuff. And that's kind of what the conversation we're going to have about today. I'll let Mitzi kind of kick it off because this is going to be awesome. It's a good topic.
Oh, gosh. There's a few things that I've been thinking of, but emotions. And I was scrolling through Facebook and I saw somebody comment, just push through the emotions, ignore them. The emotions are liars. And I'm like, no. Like, one of the most important things to do is know yourself. And your emotions actually tell you more about yourself, not the outside world. It's telling you everything about how you're thinking. And if it feels bad, you probably have an error in thinking. It's not in alignment. It's like with God or with your higher self, whatever you want to call it. And whenever you are in a state of flow, you're going to feel it. And it's a feeling. And to be able to know, when you're going from, when you're actually in the flow, it's going to feel good. And to know how to get there, you have to be able to go through and understand your emotions and know how to reset and what brings you to that state of flow. Like, what makes you feel better. And because that's where
I see where you're coming from too, and I don't mean to interrupt you because there's a few things that I want to talk about because what you're saying is absolutely right. And this is the thing, like for a lot of people, when something triggers an emotion, my mentor taught me this. He said that emotion is energy in motion. It means that it has to flow. Now, where people mess up is like if you picture like a river, right, and then you have to figure out a way to control that river. People build dams, and then they redirect the flow of the water, right? Beavers do this, and it's super cool to see. And what I love about it is that that's kind of what an emotion is like. You figure out a way to channel it and move it to something that's more productive.
Yes.
Because a lot of people will feel something, and then they'll implode internally without ever learning how to actually take that emotion and drive it into productive action. This was something that messed me up a long time ago, right? So I would get so mad. I'd be on Facebook and then I'd start running ads. And I never ran ads before, so I'm doing everything myself. And this was like beta Q when he first got into business and he was starting to figure himself out. Mm-hmm. And I would run ads. I run my own ads. And so I'd tell my friend Ayla's super awesome. She used to work in my office. She has her own business now. And I ask Ayla, I say, dude, hold this camera. I'm going to do like a quick video. So I'd be like, what's up, everybody? Quentin Flores here. I got this awesome thing for you. And if you click on the link below, go on ahead and click on it. And if you guys sign up, use promo code XYZ. And I was running ads for like companies that I was affiliate marketing for because at the time, YouTube was really blowing up for me. So I saw another income. And so I had never ran ads before. Okay. Now, when I say this, I didn't know that those ads were going to hit really fucking shitty people. And when I say shitty people, like people that are extremely sad about their lives, that they have absolutely nothing else to do than like better to do than to tear down somebody that they're finding on their feed for whatever reason, because my ad popped up on their feed. And so this is the thing, and it hurt a lot. And this is probably what added to me going to the gym and doing what I'm doing right now. Now, I just came back from leg day. And I feel fucking amazing. There was a chick that was in there that saw me working out, probably has bigger legs than I do. And she told me that I had nice legs. So great compliment. Thank you, lady in the gym who's not to be named because I fucking no clue who you are. I never even seen her before until today. It was really cool to see, like, to hear that, you know, because I really have been working on that. And so these random fucking people were coming on that ad, and they were just calling me a fat piece of shit.
Oh,
they were saying that I was ugly as fuck and that I was fat as fuck and that this fucking little tubby guy over here trying to tell us to click on this thing. How about you go click on a fucking diet on the internet or something?
Wow.
Bro, like legit, it tore me the fuck down, Mitzi. I would see that and I would just like, I'd get so mad and I'd hold it in, and rather than doing anything about it, you know what I did? I ate more food.
Yeah. That's... Man, and I like how you mentioned how to change the emotion around. It's like transmuting it. And you can't do that unless you know yourself and know what, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And
like,
it's like it sucks that there's people out there that are like that. But this is something that I listened to on, I was listening to Ed Milet's podcast. And I love Ed Milet. He's a good guy. If you guys ever go and check out the Ed Milet show, he's a phenomenal speaker. And he says this, and it always stuck with me. And it was one of the things that I needed to hear. And then I was already in my fitness journey. I was already going through the notion because I was like 400 pounds trying to get down, you know? Yeah. He said, if somebody tells you something about yourself and it pisses you off, the only reason that it makes you angry is because it has some type of truth to it. It wouldn't make you mad if somebody was saying some outlandish shit about you and you just knew that you were in the right, you know? But if somebody calls you an overweight person and you are overweight, you can either like let that hurt you, bro, or you can take that and channel it into something that's more productive. And so I think about those words that I saw all the time. I think about all the interactions that I've had with people where a fight almost broke out when I was just in some random environment and somebody made a comment about my weight. And I think about all of those things. Rather than just eating more food, because that's how I used to deal with it, I changed that around. Because I knew that that wasn't the way to add on. I was adding on to a problem that was existing. And because it was affecting my emotions, I just knew the one thing that I love to do that would make me feel like better.
Temporarily better.
Was eat more food, you know? And yeah, you're absolutely right. It actually made it worse because I woke up one night feeling like I couldn't breathe. And I ended up going to the doctor and they told me that I had sleep apnea, high cholesterol, clogged arteries, and I was on the brink of a heart attack. And so they had to put me on all these machines and stuff to make sure that I wasn't going to die. And then the guy went on and told me that if I didn't lose a bunch of weight, that I would die of a heart attack by the age of 35.
Oh, wow.
So I said, fuck that, bro. I ain't ready to go yet. I still got to see my son walk a graduation stage one day, you know? So I love this conversation because you're absolutely right. And I don't know if that correlates to what you're wanting to talk about, but that was something that I wanted to share with you that really messed me up when I was younger.
I'm glad it motivated you to get healthy. You look great.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm really happy to see your transformation, and
it's still going.
Yeah. Well, it's you know, I think a lot of us expect like overnight transformations, or if it's taking some time that we're doing something wrong. But you got to look at how long was the traffic jam. You know, I look at like when you're not headed the right way and you're causing like a traffic jam. How long has that been going on? Even though you've probably cleared the jam, the traffic is still going to be there for a little while. And that's like even when you start changing beliefs or anything, like you already have a certain energy that's already out there. But yeah, back to the emotions. Yeah. No, I love to hear that story. And what I like too, and I want to point out, is how you mentioned that you did something that temporarily made you feel better, and that was eating, that was causing more to the problem. And some people think, oh, if you're just only looking to feel better, it can misdirect you. And I think that in emotions, what you need to tap into is, does it feel better long term? Because that's probably going to take some discipline, whatever it is, to make you feel better long term. And so it's not like just, oh, woo woo, let's just feel good. Let's not let's ignore our responsibilities, not do what we're supposed to do. No, that's not gonna feel good long term. So I think it's important to tap in and be like, why am I feeling this way? Like your mentor said, or Ed Milet mentioned, like you only feel that way because there's some truth to it. Like if somebody was calling me a big fat clown, like I would be like, okay. Or a tree, like I wouldn't care. I've had people call me names online and I just laugh because I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like, all right, like that did not resonate with me at all, but okay. And it's funny because they're just telling me more about themselves than they are me anyways. Even those people that were talking about you, saying mean things, they were just telling a lot about themselves of how they were handling themselves.
How they were handling it. You know, I feel like when I first started getting into the fitness stuff, I still had like 1 foot in and 1 foot out. So I wasn't necessarily perfect at channeling my emotion yet. You know what I mean? I needed like a program or something to really kick me into check. And so like I ended up going through 75 hard, and that's really what helped me out. I failed that thing 6 times before getting it right. And it was such a difficult thing to do because there's a lot of stipulations to it and there's rules. And it's like for 75 days straight, you have to do X, Y, Z. And I made a post about it this morning because at the beginning of this year, me and about 10 people in my entrepreneur circle that I'm in, we all made a commitment that we were all going to do 75 hard again. And so I've been on it. Super simple, been doing it. It's like not hard for me. It was. Is it still challenging? Absolutely. I'm not saying that it's not hard for me. It's not hard for me to have the discipline anymore. That's what I meant to say. And so, you know, you could just tell a lot about somebody by how they choose to take on a program, you know, and programs are designed to assist you with cultivating skill sets that help you channel your emotions. Like legit, because I want to eat a fucking cookie every day of the week. You just offered me Chick-fil-A when we were off this podcast.
Yeah.
I would have said hell yeah, but it's not a part of my regimen. That doesn't make you bad for wanting to eat Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
I just, you know, where I'm at, I have to eat specific types of food. And so I have to honor the program because I've dedicated myself to eating this type of food. And so, you know, all of my buddies, my 10 friends that all started 75 hard, they're already team day one again. And I'm 9 days into this shit. It's like, I'm ready, bro. Like, you know what I mean? But I've done it before. They haven't yet. But that's the thing. Like, you could tell a lot about somebody. And this is what's cool, too, just to add on to this, because I think that this is a good concept. Most of you guys that are listening to my podcast are in the age of 30 or up. If you're 30 and you're listening to this podcast, average human lifespan is 75 years old right now. In America, that sucks, doesn't it? We should be living a lot longer than that.
You know, there's a book that I love it. It's called Wisdom of Mystic Masters. And in there it says that we are supposed to live 21 and a half 7-year cycles. And that is up to the age of 144 years old.
Wow.
So 70, us only living to 72 is us only living half the lifespan we were supposed to be living. Could you imagine what we look like at 70 if we actually lived to 144? We'd probably look like we were in our 30s.
Would be wild.
Yeah.
The reason why I want to say that, no, because it's beautiful, and we definitely got to make sure that we have that book pulled up. 75 days of 45 years makes up 0.45% of the fraction of the amount of time that you have left to live. That's less than 1%. That's less than half of 1%. So if you're telling me that you're listening to this and you can't dedicate yourself to 75 days of learning how to channel your emotions, learning how to create mental fortitude, learning how to adapt to discipline and honor just 75 days, you may never succeed at anything in life, because I promise you, to be a successful business owner, you could be 5 years in the game and not make a single coin, not make a single fucking quarter. And literally 6 years, boom, it's like you can't even count the amount of money that's flying in, you know? But it, like, that's the thing, man. Like, you really gotta look at it in that aspect, because the decisions that you make right now and how you allow things to affect you emotionally, they literally create the outcome for who you are in the next 5 to 10. And so mastering yourself and mastering the things that you feel and mastering how you allow these outside forces to affect you really is what will make the big difference in where you're at right now and where you're going to be in 5 years. That's just my opinion. And I want to ask you this. What are some tricks that you can, I guess when somebody has a trauma trigger, because trauma triggers are real, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I was with a friend of mine the other day, and she was just telling me something that was wrong with the business that she had. And she's like starting to cry while she's telling me this, you know? And I'm just listening, and I'm her mentor, you know? And so I think she was expecting me to be mad at her. And in my head, I was just like, why are you crying? You know? And she was like, I just don't feel like, I just feel like I'm failing you. I feel like I'm like not where I should be. And I've been going through your program for like 6 months already. And I'm just like not where I want to be. And she was crying, right? And so I told her, I said, you know, I'm going to just name her initial because it's T. You know, I said, T, don't worry about it. Like, you don't got to cry to me. Like, this is a beautiful thing. You're going through something that no one else in your family has ever tried to do before. It's already very admirable. Yeah. Regardless of whether or not you're going to see results, it's completely fucking irrelevant. Why? Because you're doing it. You're trying. That's all that matters. And she was like, you're not mad that I'm not like, you know, where other students are at? And I said, dude, comparison's the thievery of joy. But just because my other people are getting it doesn't mean that you're not. You just haven't bloomed yet. That's it. And you will if you stay the fucking course and stay disciplined. And so when I asked her why she was crying, she told me that she had a real traumatic experience trying to show good grades to her dad. And her dad never fucking really paid attention to her. And so she like, cause she lives at home still and she's trying to build this business. And her dad's like, she has a daughter. And so she's taking care of her daughter. And her dad's like on her, like, why the fuck aren't you cleaning? Why the fuck are you wasting time? When the fuck are you going to get a job like the rest of us? Like, she feels that emotion toward me because her dad is doing that to her. And so I wanted to ask you, one, how do you process trauma triggers? Two, what is a way that you can channel a trauma trigger into becoming something that's actually beneficial from your experience and what you've gained throughout the years? Because I know, guys, Mitzi, this woman been through some shit. Let me tell y'all something, all right? Like, this is some real ass shit. But I'm just interested in knowing like what techniques and stuff that you've used.
Yeah, so first off, we all have triggers. Every single person, and I don't care how much work you've done, you still probably have a trigger somewhere. But when a trigger comes up, the best thing to do is allow it, because people look to heal. You don't need to look for the next thing to heal. It comes up. So when it comes up, allow it, feel into it. Don't overthink it. Just allow the emotion to process, feel it. And feel it in the heart. Where is it in the body? Scan it. Allow it to come and process. And then what do you want to intentionally create from that? What do you want? Do you want to, what is it that's causing the trauma trigger? You know, what is it? Like if it's, this person, let's just say for her dad's taught her to be a people pleaser. Love seems to be conditional unless she's being perfect. And this is a serious issue for a lot of people. This is why a lot of people don't even come to action. It's because they don't think they're worthy or perfect enough yet. But you're never going to be perfect, but you're perfect just the way you are. And, but feel it. And then for her, she can feel it and then be like, all right, can you start accepting yourself where you are right now? You know, how does that feel?
Acceptance.
Yeah. Can you accept where you are right now? Not where you think you should be, but can you accept it? And that may bring on some tears because she may notice she has a hard time accepting where she's at. And then, all right, that's okay. Process that. Now, start working on accepting where you are. And from there, you can grow. But if you can't accept where you're at right now, you're going to have a hard time moving anywhere else. And then go from, it just depends on what your intention is and what the trauma was. Yeah.
I feel like you're an entirely different person from when I first met you, Mitzi. I feel like when I first met you, we were just like, when I would see you at Ria's, we got drunk.
Yeah.
Like, we were like in a totally different headspace, you know? This is the healthiest and probably the best version I've ever seen of you.
Thank you. I try to grow.
I wanted to ask you, what was the change that happened? Because what was the defining moment where you were like, okay, this is something that I used to do. This is where I wanted, this is what I want to do, and this is where I want to go now.
You know, I didn't even know how traumatized I really was, and how much trauma I had. But it was actually going through a really bad relationship and having a lot of bad stuff all happening all at the same time. I was like feeling like I was drowning. I actually wanted to die. Like, it was really bad. And I looked at my situation. I was like, I'm the common denominator here. I can't be like, oh, it's this bad boyfriend or it's these snaky people or whatever. No, it's I didn't have good boundaries. I had to take my power back. I noticed that I was giving my power away to other people and allowing other people to affect my emotions and affect me and blame them for it instead of taking responsibility for the fact that I even allowed this person in my life, that they're still in my life. Or when somebody shows me that they're shady, just move on. You know, like, I don't have to try to make it right or anything like that. Just you know, whatever. So it was feeling like my whole world was collapsing and having to, so I started really looking into emotions and energy and the nervous system and mindset and all of that. So I dove back into all that because I had been looking into that, and then for a while I got off of it and came back to it and started processing, did a lot of crying, did a lot of awareness. And, you know, I even cried to notice like what I did to myself, because I realized I was doing a lot of it to myself. And it was because I didn't love myself. And then I expected other people to love me when I couldn't even do it. And I wasn't even putting the right people in my life to do that. So it was stop blaming, stop and take all the accountability. And then I think anybody can grow from that.
I honestly love to see it, Mitzi. It's super fucking cool, dude. Reason why I'm saying it is because I used to just know you as Mitzi, this real estate lady, this real estate gal that would just buy houses from people. Mm-hmm. And dude, you're like full blown 360, man. Like, I see you as hippie Mitzi now. When I say hippie Mitzi, I mean like in the most positive light. I know sometimes I say some stupid shit. I don't know how the fuck I got this far, but I'm just saying it with nothing but love from my heart.
I like it.
This
hippie
like
Mitzi.
really cool version of you is like super healing, bro. Like, I don't know. Sometimes you come into the office and shit, and it's like immediately just good energies in the building, like good vibes.
Aww.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, thank
you.
you.
And I say that because your transformation's inspiring as fuck when I'm in the middle of mine too. Mm-hmm. And I'm still, I think we both are, still growing in our own direction. Yeah, I didn't know what the hell I was doing when I decided to open up this fucking studio. I didn't know who the hell I was going to hire to run it. I didn't know anybody who was going to be involved. I did not even know how to operate the cameras or equipment or set any of this shit up. Like, I really have just, I put good energy out there, and then the right people showed up in my life to put this together so that we can project the message that we're projecting today. Because right when this is done, you know, Jose is going to clip this thing, fucking boom, and then he's going to give it to Jack, and then Jack's going to do the editing, and then boom, we're done there too. It's like, you know, this whole episode's completed in like 5 minutes after being filmed. And that's a whole process that I'm damn happy about because it flows, you know?
Yeah.
And everything in my life has been flowing lately with this vibration that I'm on.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
That's why I'm like, you've got to pay attention to your feelings, because when you learn what they're telling you about yourself, you can learn what brings you to flow state. Flow state is like the most powerful state a human being can be in. This is when you can create songs like in 5 minutes. This is when you can write a book. This is whenever it's like you are being the vessel and you're allowing the flow. And when that happens, it's easier. You don't have to put you don't have to put force. It's just coming. And you're able to like use it. And it's like a gift, I feel, like, to be in that space and to push through your emotions and not pay attention to, hey, I'm feeling bad right now. I'm going to just still push through and I'm just going to still work. You know, you're going to, everything is energy. So like you said, an emotion is energy in motion. Well, when you put action behind emotion, that's very powerful. And you're going to get that to come back to you. Is it a good emotion that you're putting into that? Because it's going to boomerang back.
Even bad emotions can be channeled.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, you can be angry. You can. I have a very powerful energy, or maybe I just feel like I do. But when I get angry, oh my gosh, it's like, and it's just like, I don't even have to say much. I can be like, hey, that was shady, dude. You know, and like,
Wow.
people are like, oh my God, she's a bully, you know, and it's like, what the fuck? Sorry. Yeah.
fine.
Excuse me? Like, dude, I'm just calling you out for being a liar or something, and then I'm a bully. Okay.
Maybe that statement just carried weight, and so maybe it like projected itself a little bit further.
Oh, well, they knew they were being shady.
Well, yeah, of course.
You have to know when you're being shady.
Reason why I was saying that, because with the anger thing, right? I'm not an angry guy, man, but
Yeah.
I can be, and it takes
Yeah.
a lot to get me there. But, you know, I was lifting weights with my trainer the other day, and I'll bring it down with you, because what happened was just such like a very small interaction that we had, and my trainer was telling me, you know, he's like, Q, what's wrong, dude? And I was like, what do you mean? Like, I'm picking it up, I'm putting it down, just like you want me to, right? And he's just like, nah, dude, like, you're not trying. He told me that I am being a specific word. I think it was pessimistic, maybe. It's when you make it seem like something's harder than it is,
Yeah.
just to get through it.
Yeah.
Or to not do it. And I'm not sure if pessimistic is the word. No, I don't think so. It's a word. I forgot what the hell the name of the word is. And I was like, dude, nah, man, like, I'm ready. I'm here to pick it up. And he was like, yeah, you're here and you're picking it up, but you don't want to. And I was like, oh, well, what do you mean? And so he told me this crazy story about this guy who created a vision that was like very dark. And then he channeled the emotions that he felt within that vision to be able to deadlift over, I think it was 1,200 pounds, which is a world record. That's insane. That's like massive. People build cars that weigh that much. You know what I'm saying? Like, this guy picked up a whole car and
Wow.
held it in his hands in a deadlift position. Reason why I'm saying that is because he said, Q, I want you to reset your focus, back up for just a second. I want you to create something that's very powerful in your mind, and think about the two very most important people that are in your life, right? So I envisioned it, step back, and then he's like, now I want you to picture a car parked on top of them, and this weight right here is the only way that you're going to be able to get it off of them. Otherwise, they're going to suffocate to death. It's a very emotional thing. So when he told me that, I started damn near crying. My eyes were like bloodshot red. And then like immediately, like, my whole intention changed because I envisioned it. And so like when I say my intention changed, I have this on camera. I'll show you when we get off of the podcast.
Yeah.
Like, everything, my whole demeanor, my whole body language, everything. I grabbed that bar and I drove it straight up to my waist, like almost like it was like it weighed feathers, Mitzi.
The power of using the emotions the right way.
It was
right
powerful
there.
because, like, you know, I'm not saying that anybody should ever think those dark thoughts, right?
Yeah.
But that was something that was real for me before I did that. Like, he made it real, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And like, I remember when I picked it up, like, I still had tears coming down my eyes as I was grabbing it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I just felt so powerful. And then I let it go. And I just like walked away, and he was like, you see the difference between what you were doing before and what you're doing now? One of them had intention, and one of them was backed by emotions. And this, like, you just coming in here, your whole demeanor changed. Now you see me walk around like I'm breathing deep because of what I just did.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I don't care how much that thing weighed at that moment. I was going to pick it up or die trying, man. Because I'll be damned if I ever let something bad like that happen to people that I love, you know? And so, does that sound like a form of channeling emotion?
Yeah.
Or am I just fucking psychotic for thinking about a car parked on two people I love?
Well, I mean, whatever brings the imagination to bring the emotion up. But yeah, he was actually playing into bringing the emotion into the body so that you could use that. And it's so powerful. Like, if people can understand how powerful that is and how to actually use it. Like, if you're angry, well, you know, if you know how to be better than that, try to do that. I mean, like,
Of course.
I shouldn't have ever acted out in anger. I had a boomerang come back to me and of me being a bully. But
You're definitely not a bully.
yeah, I know. And I thought it was kind of funny. But But I noticed the boomerang effect. But yours, you put out this emotion, this intention. I'm going to do this, and you did it, and it came back to you. But I think it's really important to understand ourselves and really these emotions. And really, we shouldn't act out in anger or in anything that's in survival paradigm, which is like shame, guilt, fear, grief, desire, pride. Anger, all of that is in the survival paradigm. And when you act in that space and don't bring it, so he brought the emotion in, of course, but it made you able, it made you willing. And so there's reason and logic that actually starts at courage and willingness and neutrality and reason and all of those. And then you have love. And love and above is your spiritual paradigm. This is where you can really be super powerful. This is the flow state. And you were thinking about people you loved. And
wow.
And so it was like you went from this very powerful being because of that. And if you want, do you want to know a quick way to manifest anything you want?
Sure. Let's throw it out there because this is wild.
Yeah, so the heart is so powerful. So whatever you want, I would say get up in the morning right when you get up so that you're still in the theta brainwave state. This is where you are more likely to be hypnotized or...
What does theta mean? Theta.
So the brainwaves are kind of slower at this time.
Okay.
Yeah, you've got like... delta, theta, alpha, beta, something like that. I can't think of them all, but
like frequencies.
The high ones are like us, like full thinking and on board.
Fuck yeah.
So theta is like when you're still kind of drowsy. So before you go to sleep or right when you wake up, immediately think of exactly what you're wanting and bring it into your heart center. Like bring an imagination that would bring that feeling that you would have if you were there, and be like, okay, I'm going to picture my ideal life. Wake up. All right. So I'm waking up. Butler's bringing me my herbal tea. Like, all of this. I can smell it. I can taste it. I can feel the warmth. And you bring all those senses in and you bring it and you feel it in your heart. And picture your heart like just opening up. And picture that it's energy just taking up the room. And, as you're in that emotion of whatever that feels like to have that, and then let it go and go on with your day. Because if you keep thinking of it over and over and over, you don't have faith. Letting go says, now I have faith this is going to happen. And then you can do it again at night. Yes, you're not holding on. You're actually taking advantage of creating and working with your subconscious mind and all of that to make it happen for you so that you can use the tools of the brain to make it happen. So like knowing how the brain works and when it's best to program yourself can really help out. So yeah, you just think of that, open the heart center, and you may be surprised on how fast things start happening.
I feel like it's been around us for such a long time. Like that book by Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, right? It's not called Work Hard and Grow Rich. It's called Think and Grow Rich. And that's what I love about it, because it's like your thoughts manifest your reality once you are able to tap into this and your emotions. Man, if you can just push those things into that direction of that outcome that you're wanting, you'll probably get there a lot faster. I'll be honest with you, Mitzi, I had so much anger in my heart for the longest time. Like just anger toward my dad for beating the shit out of me, and for my mom being who she was as a product of my dad, and my brothers and sisters. When we all left my dad, so my dad was like dumb abusive. I remember it was WrestleMania 2002. Why am I saying this? Is because that was the date that my mom left my dad. And so it kind of hurt me a lot because my mom didn't leave my dad for us, her kids. She left my dad for another man. And I've never said this on a podcast before. So this is me I've already processed it, but I'm doing it again on this call with you guys. But she loaded all of us up into what we call a Scooby-Doo van. And I had a cat, his name was Tigger. And so I loved that cat so much, right? My mom put him in the back seat. In the back seat, there was an oil spill. And so that got on the cat's fur, and the cat would, they licked themselves. And so it got into the cat system. And the first place that we stayed at, the very creature that I would confide in when my mom and my dad would get into a big fight and my dad beat the shit out of my mom, died. And I held it, and it died right in my hands. So I was just so sad and want to fucking, for like a whole month. So my brothers and sisters, my dad was very strict with us. We couldn't listen to rap music. We couldn't have black friends. My dad was super racist, very Mexican, old school man. I think something bad happened to him when he was in prison in Cleveland. There's a lot of black people in that prison. And where we lived at, predominantly in Cleveland, was highly populated by black people. I'm not sure why. He just had like a chip on his shoulder, so we couldn't have black friends. And so, when we finally moved out, my mom was running away, and we were going from hotel to hotel to hotel. My mom was stripping. So we'd stay in hotel rooms, And I remember all of this because I was 12 years old, 13 years old at the time. And fucking all of my brothers and sisters didn't like me because I looked like my dad. They loved me, but they didn't like me at this particular moment. And so if they got their ass beat, sometimes it was because I told on them to my dad. I didn't think that my dad was going to beat their ass for something so small. I started to learn after a while to just hold it in and not say anything. And so like they all left to go party, and I was in that hotel room dealing with my drunk mom the entire time. My mom would come home from the club and she'd be fucking drunk as hell. I remember her like coming home one time, and she was like, she was talking on the phone to some guy named Ben. And I remember Ben because Ben was like 600 pounds. He picked me up from school. My dad, when we were with my dad, my mom has sugar daddies because my mom's gorgeous. It is what it is. I got into a bunch of fights over school because of it. But this big old fat guy, like 600 pounds, came and picked me up in this fucking like smart car. I think they just came out at the time. He didn't even fit in it. So I'm like squished up with this fucking fat dude, not even knowing what the hell's going on. My mom gave this guy permission to come and pick me up. This guy would pay my mom $10K a week just to be arm candy. That's it. My mom swore up and down she ain't never slept with this dude, not once, bro. My mom was like real good at the psychology of it, And so she was using that guy's money to pay for our situation because we had just left my dad. And so we had to hire attorneys. We had to put a restraining order against him. We got to get the police involved. I mean, dude, it was a lot of shit. Like it was a lot of shit. And so like, man, when I was in that hotel room, I just remember walking into the room and my mom's crying to this guy named Ben. She's like, I need you. I want you. You have to stay with me. And Ben's like, dude, I know what this is. I'm not stupid anymore. I'm not going to be stupid anymore. She hung up the phone, and my mom was drunk as hell. She fucking fell into the bathtub, and I'm 12, mind you. I was watching the Jerry Springer show on the TV because I didn't have anything. And I went in there, and I was like, Mom, what the hell's wrong with you? And I shook her, and she wouldn't wake up. And I put the water on her, and she finally woke up, but I just kept on giving her water and putting it in the cup and then giving her so she can drink it and making sure that she could breathe. I took my mom out of that, changed her, put her into bed so she fall asleep, and I went to the other room, and that was the first time I ever thought about killing myself. I was so sad and so alone that entire time, And so, like, reason why I'm saying that, for the longest time I had a lot of anger in my heart, is that I just felt like why would God do this to me? Like, why would God put me through this shit? And it took me years. What I just gave to you, and basically everybody, I really gave it to Mitzi but everybody that's listening to this, because it's going to be thrown out into the fucking world, what I just gave to you guys was a really dark memory that I had. Like, that's something that's still there, But rather than resenting that time frame, I had solitude in that moment. I now know what it's like to be alone and to love myself. So I don't need my mom to love me. I don't need my brothers and sisters to love me. I can simply love and allow abundance to flow through me, rather than looking at that time and being like, man, that was the reason I didn't finish school. That was the reason that I dropped out. That was the reason that I got into so many fights. That was the reason why I started gangbanging when I was younger. I took that and I said, dude, I thank my mom so bad. Like, I thank my mom so much for being that person. I thank my brothers and sisters for being who they were and experiencing that situation their own way. Because without that, I wouldn't have the blessings that I have right now. And so when you were talking about earlier, right, about full-blown ownership of anything and everything that you've ever gone through in your life, I fucking felt that, Mitzi, seriously. And I know now that I'm very thankful for those things. Like,
Yeah.
I'm so damn glad. I'll never let my son go through that.
Yeah.
I'll never let the woman in my life go through that. I just know where I'm at and where I want to be. And I've never had that kind of clarity before.
See, that's great. And I think some people, and thank you for sharing that, Q.
Of course.
That's really, I mean, wow. Like, that definitely made you who you are. Helped do that. So
That's one of a lot. I
Yeah.
remember a lot. I'm like an elephant.
yeah.
I'm kidding.
Yeah. Luckily I'm able to forget things, but not all the time, but yeah, I think some people may be confused sometimes. I know at one point when somebody told me, stop taking it personal, and I'm like, these people are doing it to me. How do you not take that personal? And then I realized what anybody else thinks and what anybody else does has nothing to do with me. It isn't something I should take personal. It's something I should use for discernment in who this person is. And like, how do you get out of, how do you take 100% accountability if you feel like you're a victim? Well, you can't be a victim. You have to stop doing that. You have to quit blaming anybody. You have to quit complaining. You have to quit
What you said
looking
earlier.
at everybody else.
You said acceptance.
Yeah,
That's the word
accept.
that I was talking about. Not
Yes.
responsibility. It was acceptance.
Yeah,
Dude, because
yeah.
I resented what I had went through for so long. Like, when I say
Mm-hmm.
so long, like, this is barely some shit that I barely got over 5 years ago, bro.
Yeah.
Like, that's not that long ago, you know?
Yeah.
But it was a big thing that needed to happen.
Yeah, acceptance is so important. That's like whenever you start getting into reason and logic on the consciousness scale, is acceptance is in there, and that helps
honestly,
you feel so much better.
I've been wondering what that was, because I don't have no fucking therapist, and this is all experience, bro, and me learning from people like yourself that are in the space of the mindset and how the body works and energy and whatnot. And I just like been learning so much, and so like, that's why I appreciate when you come in and we do these podcasts, because you teach me, you know what I'm saying? Like, while we're teaching the whole world, I get a chance to learn, and I get this information before they do. No offense, but for me, man, I mean, you just put the pieces together. I just accepted everything, and that's what made it happen, man. So thank you for that.
I thank you. You're welcome. I had this experience one time. I was on mushrooms. I'll just be honest. I'll put
Fuck
it out
yeah.
there. And I actually did it to help me get over trauma. I was like, I want to get past some of this trauma, because I knew I was still self-sabotaging in certain areas. And I knew that certain trauma can cause PTSD and brain damage. And I had studied mushrooms and found out they do neurogenesis, which is they grow back the brain, and they create more neural pathways, and so you can rewire your brain instantaneously instead of over time. And so I was like, I want to try that, and I would like to regrow some of these places that I may have some literal brain damage from some of the trauma, and. While I was in that journey, I saw us as like groups of neurons, and we're just like a little vessel, just supposed to allow the energy to flow through. And that's our only job, is to allow the energy to flow through us. And you have access to everything that is, because the energy that's flowing through you is the energy of everything that is. And so like anything that you're not having is because of your own resistance to it. And even trauma, because right whenever it happened, all of a sudden when it hit me, I'm in this white room, in a white chair in the middle of the room, and there were brown boulders all around me, and I could barely make out what they were. But I was like, all right, that's my trauma. I'm ready. Let's do it. And then this wind just went over me and knocks everything out, and it said, "You made it all up." And I was like, what? No, I was there. That wasn't made up. And it said, "You don't understand what you are." And it took me through a few things, and then it said, "You still don't understand what you are."
What was his voice?
And yeah, it was like a voice.
Was it you
No.
thinking these thoughts? In your
No,
own?
it wasn't in my voice.
It's crazy.
And And so then it took me out and it showed me, like, it looked like a brain with just neurons. And it was like, this is all you are. And it like zoomed in and showed me just a little piece of a neuron. And it said, that's all you are. And you were given this simulation for an experience, and you've taken it too seriously. You haven't allowed everything to flow through. The only reason you can have trauma is because you are stuck. You have allowed something, this energy, this experience to become stuck in you. And it was never meant to be stuck. You were only supposed to allow the energy, the experience to flow, to happen, to be there and make the most of it, because you have the energy of everything that is at all times happening for you. And so you get to change the experience. You can create, you're co-creating. And it did say that you're creating your own experience, but you're also co-creating with everybody that is here too. This whole thing is a co-creation. And it said your state of being is very important. And so stop holding on to things. Like if an electric wire doesn't hold on to electricity, it just knows that it's going to keep on pumping through it. And you just need to know that the experiences are going to keep going, and everything is going to keep flowing if you allow it. And I was like, well, what happens if you don't allow it to flow? And it was like, you get a virus.
Holy fuck.
And I was like, what?
Like a computer virus?
Yeah, like you get a virus, and if you don't allow the flow, eventually you're taken out.
Wow.
And because the flow is important for everybody. It's not just you. Because we are connected. We're all connected. And so you not flowing is actually hurting other people and not just yourself. So, and then it showed me that we've got universes and worlds that exist because we do, and our state of being is so important. So you pushing through your emotions and not allowing it to be means you're resisting something. You're actually resisting your emotions, and you're resisting the experience. We as human beings experience through our emotions, through our senses. And when you take that out, it's like you're taking out your soul in the equation, and like who you are, your essence. And like to understand that and know how to direct it, because the more that you are in flow state, the easier it is to be there. It's just like anything that you discipline yourself into, it becomes a habit. And so you can be more habitually in the flow state. And that's where we're supposed to be. This is where you can have abundance, love, peace, joy. All of this is where that lies. And to know how to get yourself there, so important. Because if you're not there, you're not even in alignment. Like, how are you going to attract anything that's meant for you if you're not even in alignment with who you really are?
It's beautiful, man. Wow. It's true as fuck, though. Not saying that you guys got to get shrooms to experience that, but I've had a lot of breakthroughs on shrooms too. Mine was recent, actually. It was about 8 months ago. I did shrooms in a mastermind with the official DJ of the Dallas Cowboys. I probably should not have said that on a podcast. Whatever. I don't think the Dallas Cowboys is going to listen to this, but if they do, sorry if you lost your job, buddy. But it was beautiful. I did shrooms with some random fucking guy in Austin at a mastermind. I had a good time. But you do see amazing things, man. This whole fucking podcast has been a super huge breakthrough for me. I appreciate you always coming by and doing these. So we definitely want to do this again. Guys, if all of y'all are watching this right now, make sure that y'all show my friend Mitzi some love. This is Mindset with Mitzi. Hope you guys got value, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. Let's get it.